Hello again. I'm back. Today I just wanted to show you a couple of quick methods to take water samples. We've kind of looked at a few in the past, although I guess I don't know what order you're looking at these videos. But we talked about the long arm sampler. You can kind of reach out and by holding the bottle upside down, you can put it in the water and to a certain depth, and then flip it over and get a sample that way. So that's a good method if you just need a little bit of water. We've also talked about the Van Dorn bottle, which allows you to kind of go down to a particular depth, send the messenger down, which trips it and locks in that the water, and then you can pull it to the surface and get that. That's a really good method. But there's a couple others that are kind of just the simpler method if you just need to do, let's say, a water sample. If maybe you're taking samples for your nitrogen and phosphorus levels in the lake or something like that. You just need a sample that's at a particular depth. 1 meter is our typical one for here for our standard samples. So that's where this comes into play. There's a couple of different ways to do that. This is just a stainless steel sampling bottle. It's a little clever in that it's got these little tubes in here that allow you to get the water in through these tubes to fill up your bottle directly. So when using this, you take the bottle, usually you've got them labeled already. You stick them into these tubes, and you can do more than one bottle at a time, and just kind of tweak it around till they fit in. You line up the bolts with the slots, close them up, and you're ready to go. This is a really good method just to take if you just need, like a 500 milliliter sample of water. Take you over to the lake here. I'll kind of show you how this works. So again, it's kind of just a pretty simple method here. So there it is. So I'm going to lower this down to a 1 meter mark, which I've got. It's kind of hard to see nowadays, but it's just a little black mark I've got there. So basically, you just kind of let it sit in the water until it starts to, there it goes, and then you let it go down to the 1 meter mark quickly, and then you hold it there until it stops bubbling. See that any better? Okay, I'm going to stop bubbling. You just bring it up. Put it on your boat, on the dock in this case, and then unscrew these. And then the trick here is, as you lift these up, you want to keep your bottles from floating around too much and getting extra water in them. So you just sort of, usually you kind of have to keep in mind that some of these samples might be frozen. So if you're freezing a sample, be sure to leave yourself some space to for that water expansion. And then you just put the lid on, and usually you'll put them in a cooler with some ice packs or something, and there you are, your samples are done. Occasionally you'll need to add things, either an acidifier or some agent to preserve the chemicals or whatever. It kind of varies, just depends upon what you're doing. But just basically that's how to get your sample, and you just dump the water out. And usually I would kind of leave this out for the rest of my boat trip or whatever, and just kind of let it dry out. Okay, so stainless steel bucket method. The next one I want to talk about is tube method, and I'll be honest, I don't really like this method, but it's one to consider. The idea of this is you're taking sort of a column of water. You've got this flexible tube that is open at both ends and with a rope and a weight tied to one end. And the idea is you're going to put this in the water and sort of make a scooping motion with it as you go into the water, down, and then come back up again. So let's see, let me get you closer to the water now. I'm going to be able to get to the bucket too without getting everything wet here. And let's see, you can see here. Alright, sort of. You can see that. So basically the way this works is you just dive it down in. You kind of want to go straight down in and then pull it up. You grab, you dive it down in until you hit that black mark, which I think you can probably see it there on the tube. And then you bring it over to the bucket and you just dump it in. And then usually we do that 3 times. So we dive it down in, pull it up, bring it over. As you can see, it's very messy kind of procedure, and that's part of the reason I don't like it. I think it's too, you're just losing kind of water all over the boat, and everything just kind of gets messy, and I don't feel like it does a great job of getting a column of water nor the particular depth, but it does allow you to get some distribution of your sample if you don't want to just take a simple sample at the surface of your lake. So we've talked about a couple of different methods there. Just depends upon kind of what you're trying to accomplish as to which method is best. That last one we were showing you, sort of takes that tube sample. The idea is you're kind of getting that one kind of a column, although it's kind of a curved column, down to that 1 meter. And the stainless steel bucket, that's more of just that, you can really regulate that just by how low you lower the rope. Van Dorn bottle that we did earlier is another, that's probably the best method of the group. A little more messing around, so that's while the stainless steel bucket method is probably easier just on a day-to-day method if you're just trying to get something within that 1 meter column of water. That's a good enough way to do it, and it's a lot easier than setting it up. I think that's it for today. Just a real short video on some of those basic sampling ideas. And once again, when you're thinking about how you might want to do it in your particular situation, think about whether you want just surface water, just water in a particular place, a column of water from the whole representation of that whole meter column, or whatever else you might want to try to be doing. So try to make your methods that you pick match whatever you're trying to accomplish in the end. A lot of these water samples that we're doing in this method will be sent out for doing something like figuring out your nutrient counts or something like that. Okay, thank you.